G'day guys, Solgrasp here, and here we are with the fifth and final look at my Power Auras guides. And I've pretty much covered everything that I personally use it for, and there's certainly a lot more that you can use it for, so as you go through it at your own pace, you probably pick up on things that I don't even know at the moment about Power Auras. It's a very versatile mod. But what we're going to look at today is the final piece of putting all this knowledge that we've learnt into providing multiple power auras as like conditions to one particular power. As an example, to start us off small, we're going to have a look at my trinket apparatus of Kazgoroth. Now, the reason that we have multiple auras for this is because the on equip proc for it stacks up to 5 times, but the consuming that proc can be done at any number of stacks. Now, it's not like you need the full 5 stacks for you to be able to use it. Now, with that in mind, if you didn't have the multiple aura system to provide conditions for it, it'll pretty much will go, you've got 1 stack, use it, and therefore you're not getting the full potential out of it, because obviously you want the full 5 stacks to make sure you're maximizing the amount of increase to your mastery, haste, or crit that you can get. With that in mind, we're going to set up or I'll show you my multiple power auras for that one, and how it kind of works. So the first one you're looking at is the Titanic power buff. Now this is the one that stacks up to 5 times, and we've set it so it equals 5, so it will only show up when you're at 5 stacks pretty much. So you position it where you want, all that good stuff, make sure you got your buff Titanic power, and as you can see this tiny little dot there, if I click it on and off you can see it disappear. Now the reason that it's there is because number one, you can't turn off the opacity, so you have to have it somewhere, like it has to exist somewhere, and that's the smallest you can put it. So I just put it as small as I can, as not opaque as possible, I guess is the word, or as transparent as possible, and positioned it just kind of in a spot that really doesn't take up any recognition. Now we want to have this active as a conditional aura for our other trinket proc that we're going to look at. So this will only show up when you have 5 stacks of Titanic power, and when you go to this one, as you can see here, the activation by is a named item, and I've popped this up for the apparatus. You can see I've written it in there. Stacks you don't need to worry about, because you're not looking at the stacks of the trinket or the stacks of the item. You can only have 1 item, and again we want to make sure it's in combat. You don't really care about it outside of combat. Position it where you want, resize it, put on any animations you want and all that good stuff. Now what we're going to do is, in this sweet little box down here, you can see it mentions the entering of multiple aura IDs. Now an ID, as you can see from the tooltip there, it refers to the specific number of what aura that is. So the first one's obviously 1, you can see in the square brackets it says 1, then you've got 2, 3, 4, and as you go down, the conditional aura that we want to tie in with this current aura is 11. So as you can see, I've put in 11 there. So effectively what you're telling this particular aura to do is, number 1, only show up when the apparatus of Kazgoroth is available to use. So it's effectively a cooldown mod for your trinket. And then number 2, the condition is that it will also only show up when this power is active, that tiny little dot one, which is when Titanic power is equal to 5 stacks. So it will only show up when your trinket is off cooldown, and it will only show up when the Titanic power is at the full 5 stacks. And that's the first idea of adding these multiple auras in, to kind of really I guess home in on when you want certain powers to proc up to really maximize your trinket. Now with that in mind, we're going to take you over to the Fire Mage, my Fire Mage for PvP, and we're going to show up I guess an even more complex system of using multiple auras as conditions to show you an ideal time when to hit combustion. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, I am on my mage, my terribly geared mage, but my mage nonetheless. So I'm going to run you through and quickly set you up an example of when this particular power aura will come up. So first up, we're going to actually show you the aura in action and give you an example of what it's doing. So effectively, as we know with combustion, before I get into it, it takes the sum of all your current periodic effects on the target, so all your dots, and puts it into like a super dot. That's the whole idea behind it. So effectively, you want living bomb, you want your pyroblast dot that it puts on, as well as you want the ignite debuff on the target, which is anytime you crit, it puts the 40% of disposed damage. Now, the key to getting a really strong combustion off is all in ignite, and 40% of disposed damage over 4 seconds is a very powerful dot. But the downside about that is it's any crit. So if you crit on, say, like a 7k piece of crap Scorch, then obviously that particular ignite is going to be up there. If you crit on a massive 30k Pyroblast, then obviously 40% of that over 4 seconds, it's a very strong dot, that'll get combined in. So the idea is to use this when you've had a really strong crit, rather than just use it whenever any crit has happened. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's no set way to really tell whether your ignite is doing good or bad. There may be, I'm not too sure, but what I've currently have set up is purely a way to look at making sure you have living bomb on the target, as well as pyroblast on the target, as well as your ignite on the target, and as well as making sure that combustion itself was actually off cooldown. And when all those situations come together, I have a static aura to show up. Yes, now is an opportune time to use combustion. Now, to give you an example, I'm gonna I guess take you in and show you guys how it works. Now, first up, again, as I mentioned in the previous look at my DK, these particular auras I have really faint, so you can't actually see them, but they have to be active somewhere, so I just put them anywhere. Now, these particular auras I'm talking about, not that one, that one, that one, and that one. You can kind of see them faintly here, so what I'm going to do to really show it in your face, ramp up the opacity a little bit. So, there we go. As you can see, the 3 power auras that I was talking about have just been put in the middle there, but they're really transparent, so I have it right down so you can't really see them, and they're not in your face. Now, the particular auras that they are, this one refers to a simple cooldown. So whenever it's off cooldown, it'll show up this one, which you definitely want. Whenever you have ignite currently on the target, which is just a simple debuff, and it's on enemy target in combat, set that up. Yep, that's all good to go. Same with the pyroblast debuff, same idea, pyroblast on the target, all that good stuff. And then finally the living bomb. I have the living bomb, which is a set dot down here, so I don't need to put an additional one there, but again, it's the same idea whenever you've got that dot on the target. So with that in mind, I'm just going to shrink these back down to normal opacity where I have it, so you can't actually see them, but that's where they are, just chilling there. So when all those situations come together and are currently active, then you'll see my static aura show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force a situation where we get that happening. Oop, there we go, it might be... Alright, you can see it just popped up there. But, it looks like we're just fishing for the ignite, so we need the crit. Alright, there we go, I had a nice big 30k crit. See the static aura? So now it's saying now's the opportune time to hit your thing. So as you can see, I've got a really strong crit with the combustion. So what I'm going to show you now is, as you can see, combustion did my highest amount of damage. I have terrible gear, but you can see here it's critting for 11k. And if we go back down to training dummy, last one, nope, that definitely wasn't it. That one, there we go. Combustion, highest amount of damage in that short period of time. Average hit was about 6k and critting for 11. So 4 times 11 is, I guess, 45k or so, and then 7 ticks of normal, 5.6k. So the keys, obviously, as I mentioned, to do it when your ignite, it has crit off a big one, and the big one that I saw was the 30k from the pyroblast, so that's a prime example. And effectively, that static aura that you saw will as I mentioned, only show up when all those particular auras are in place and active. So as I ran through before, the spell cooldown, ignite, and the pyroblast, as well as the debuff for the living bomb. So what we're going to have a look at now is the static aura, which I put up there. As you can see, I just made it my own little image. And what I've done here is, again, it's the same idea just as you read into the tooltip. Only shows up in combat. It's a static aura whenever number 4, which is my living bomb, number 9, which is my ignite, number 10, which is my pyroblast, and number 13, which is this one here, which is the spell cooldown itself for combustion. So whenever those 4 conditions are met, then that's when this will show up. And it's a simple way of saying sorry, yes, now is an ideal time to hit combustion, because it's off cooldown and you have all 3 dots that you want present to be up. So you're maximizing the DPS that you can put out with it. Again, keep in mind, as far as I'm aware, there's no real way to track the best ignite. It's only a way of tracking, yes, there is ignite on the target. If you do know, then certainly let me know, because I'm keen to implement that idea of making sure your ignite's a big one rather than the small one. But that's pretty much all going to wrap it up for the Powers guides. As you can see, to finish it up, we're getting into the complexity a lot more, and looking at all the different things I've taught you into combining it with multiple auras, so you can do stuff for yourself, come up with your own auras to provide conditions for each other. And as you can see, the mod in general is just a really powerful tool. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the guides and at least learned something from them. And yeah, have a good one, guys. I'll catch you next time.